All right, so next up we have Amy. I believe Amy did her honors in Fin Acc. So yeah, thanks Amy for agreeing to be in this discussion with us. And yeah, thank you for your time. So if we can just start off by getting a brief sort of an outline of what the Fin Acc honors entailed. And yeah, maybe what the lectures were like. Yeah.
So what we did in honors was we didn't have like a Fin Acc 4 kind of or Fin Acc 5 kind of thing where we just apply honors, Fin Acc principles all the time. What we did was we looked at the Fin Acc and we tried to delve a bit deeper, so go into the history of where did accounting come from. Also, like the different views, like you'll have people who want to hold management accountable versus people who just want to maximize their return. And then also, instead of just maximizing the return, they'd want to have different kind of user information. So we unpack basically the IFRS, your conceptual framework and different accounting standards, and then we'll try and understand what's going on there. We had like 5 assignments, which all like happened in block 1, and then we had the final thesis that it should have been due in June, but because of lockdown regulations, we actually ended up like having it been due like at the end, almost at the end of August. And the way the assignments went was it was normally like essays, but it was about they'll give you a topic you have to read and then analyze this articles and scenarios and then kind of come up with a discussion. There's not normally a right or wrong answer, but you have to prove your point in a way that is academically fit.
Okay. So basically what the course entailed wasn't so much like delving into different standards or anything like that. It wasn't merely an extension of Fin Acc 3 or Fin Acc 4 or anything like that. So where you're getting at there is you're basically understanding how accounting evolved and how the different perspectives of accounting and the different users that make use of that financial information sort of drive how the evolution of accounting came about.
That's basically how it is. But when it comes to the thesis, your thesis doesn't have to be based on the research module, because you're trying to understand what you are. It's not based on the actual assignments that you did. You can actually think about things that interest you, and then your supervisor will tell you yes, no, we can build on that idea.
All right.
Cool. Then I think to move on to the next question, what was your motivation behind choosing Fin Acc as your honors subject? And then also, also sticking with it, because, you arrive in CCA in the first week and you're already overwhelmed with all of these things, and many people decide to drop, so what made you stick with it as well?
So for me, I got a bit frustrated in first year and going onwards, like, why am I doing this? What is this, these numbers that are going on here? What is the methodology, those kind of things. So for me, why I did Fin Acc Honours was I thought that they would like what the assignments and stuff were about. It kind of linked to what I wanted to get out of the subject, because it was almost like I didn't really like the way they did some of the things in Fin Acc. I maybe wanted to do it differently. So for me, it was almost like I get to understand why things are the way they are. And it's not really that Fin Acc these are the rules, So for me, that was my motivation. But I know other people maybe just say they really love the subject, they want to find out more about it. But for me, that was my motivation.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
And then just moving on to the next question, could I maybe ask you to describe one aspect of your honors experience that you found the most valuable and or enjoyable, and one aspect that you did not particularly enjoy?
Okay, so what I can say is I actually enjoyed the discussions that we had in class of how did things come about. I didn't really like doing the assignments. The assignments were difficult, and it was also very time consuming in a way, but you kind of find a balance because you want to know more. So I feel like another thing that I did like about the subject was you get to expose yourself to people who have different views. You can have some sort of an open mind going into things. So instead of just following the rules, I can actually see that you know what, the rules are there that we have to follow, but there are other ways of thinking about it. So for me, it was learning that new skill and also maybe the writing. So even though the assignments were tough, also like learning how to write, obtaining a new skill was something that really motivated me. So just writing differently and reading articles, because when you're just doing a CTA, you don't really see other ways that people can be testing you, or other ways that you can be learning in varsity.
Yeah. Okay. So I think it provided a nice way for you to sort of delve deeper into why the standards are prescribing certain treatments, and what the standards are trying to emphasize, and the information that is being communicated to the users. Okay. Is there anything you want to add there, Dino?
No, that's it.
So, yeah. Okay.
I think so. Just yeah. And the next thing, like in terms of all those assignments, the research reports you have to read, which skills did you extract from that, and like how have they helped you now in masters? And do you think any of those skills are going to help you in the working world someday, or somewhere in the future in a position at a company?
Yeah, so definitely it's managing your time to between like actual work and then also anything extra that you might want to do, like if you want to do masters, honors, if you want to do okay, I'm not sure if you can do PhD while you're working, but if you want to do other kinds of projects or something, it kind of helps you to think about how you want to manage your time. And also, I also thought about when it comes to honors, I kind of felt more comfortable when I started reading articles and learning new things in masters, because the things were more familiar and I kind of have an idea of how the process works. So I'm not feeling as overwhelmed or lost during masters. So if you want to do masters, then I recommend that you can do honors, but you don't have to do it. If you do feel like I want to just focus on CTA, you can always do masters without doing honors, but it does definitely help.
Yeah. So I can even testify that what Amy is saying is spot on. Yeah, I'm in a position where I didn't do honors, and yeah, I'm pursuing my masters now, and yeah, you do sort of feel that there is a little bit of there's a bigger challenge. It's quite a different experience that you're not used to. So yeah, it can be a little bit overwhelming. So if you guys are considering pursuing a master's, I think honors is definitely a good foundation for that.
I feel like if you do some sort of a Fin Acc honors, you kind of get your critical thinking going and your mind gets opened up a bit more than if you were just gonna be in a CTA or maybe another honors degree. If you want to look at any financial statements or criticize like a integrated report of some sort of a company, if you're going to do like Fin Acc honors, you're basically learning about corporate financial reporting or just corporate reporting, integrated reporting. So you might want to, if you understand maybe these views that you learned in honors, later on in life, maybe work in the work environment, you can kind of see how the company has been, what kind of views the company takes on what kind of users they have. So like the ones who maybe want to hold management accountable, and the people who want to compare investments and then maximize their return in that way. So you can kind of see what the company wants people to know, and if they might be lacking somewhere in some points, so that people can make this proper decision. So if you can kind of get some sort of a skill set of that understanding, you might want to you can kind of evaluate companies a bit better.
So basically, you can extract like practical knowledge from the course that you could then put into like an investment decision. If I'm sure many students are keen investors and stuff, so there is a practical sense to it, I guess, as well, which is that's also very interesting.
If I can just add to that, so you did mention sort of the opposite side of what I was thinking. So you mentioned the investors and the potential users wanting to hold management accountable and potentially assess their risks and the value of the company. But I think it's also important to note from the opposite side of it. I think if students are interested in being involved in the preparation of financial statements, anything like that, it sounds to me like the course will definitely add value in them being able to assess what accounting policies are required, and anything like that, and just being able to substantiate why the choices are being made in terms of
and
reporting.
what I wanted to add with what Jared said is, if you are on the opposite side, you know that in the real life, things might not be looking exactly as you did in varsity. Like there's no, this is the standard way of doing things. So there is a thing of, you can look at, people might interpret different standards also differently. So if you can have some sort of an edge in understanding that, it can help you in your position as management, as an investor, any other position that you might be holding. So
Okay.
Cool. I think then, just to ask in terms of the workload of honors, and comparing it to CTA. So obviously you said, Wayne did say, prioritize CTA, but how was that like with managing your time, and did it ever conflict where you had to maybe like give up some CTA studying time and focus on honors, and how much extra work did you have to put in?
I could manage CTA and honors in a way that was helpful. And when I did have troubles, I did go and I spoke to Wayne. Wayne was the supervisor. He's mainly the supervisor for the honors students. So it's all about communication, the way I felt. And when you felt overwhelmed or lost, Wayne was easily available. You could just ask him, can I have a meeting with you? And he'll set up a time when he's available. So it wasn't like it takes very, very long before you kind of address your issues that you have. So there, in that sense, I felt that honors was manageable, but it definitely is tough. But at the same time, at the end of the day, you do get that benefit, where you feel like, wow, did I really accomplish all of that in 1 year? It's and
it's commendable.
No, I'm someone who likes a challenge and wants to fight through things. So I just felt that, if I can just push through this degree, it will help me a lot later on. And I was also on PMA, so they did expect like some sort of a honors, and then you'll get a stipend. So maybe that could also be motivation for someone. If you do honors, you don't get a PMA if you do CTA only. So what's nice is there is support from the lecturers. If the lecturer feels that you might have a problem with balancing both, the lecturer would speak to you, the supervisor or the honors lecturer would say, I don't think you might be able to cope.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Okay, so just to wrap up, is there any advice that you would give students that are either considering or have already committed to pursuing the Fin Acc Honours in particular?
Can I maybe answer honors and then I'll go to Fin Acc Honours? Why would they want to pursue honors versus Fin Acc Honours? So if you really do want to pursue honors, try and you have to get an average of 60% in your first year, or 60% and above. So just keep that in mind if that is your goal or something that you really want to do. And also,
can I just stop you there? I mean, that's the 60% that you're referring to? Is that for your third year? Do you need to get like
I think that's what I remember.
For your third year, or okay?
I'm not sure if it's for the whole degree. Is it 65? But I mean, if you maybe want to add that later on, maybe just
just to bring students' awareness to that, there is a minimum requirement, a minimum entry requirement for admission into the honors program. So that's also something just to bear in mind. Are you guys meeting that requirement? Okay.
And also, if you do honors, your mark at the end of the year, your average at the end of fourth year would be like 55% based on the 4 subjects. So all of the 4 subjects, 55% divided by 4 for each tax, auditing, ManFin and Fin Acc, and then your honors module counts like 45%. So you need to like kind of balance both of them so that you can get a good mark at the end. So that if you want to do masters, remember masters also has a minimum requirement, I think, of 60%. If I'm incorrect, then please just go and check the minimum requirements.
It's either 60 or 65% as far as I know, but I'm sure the students will get notified of that. So
Yeah, because I feel like, when you're in first year, you don't really know that is this all of the things I'm supposed to work towards,
yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
So when you get to third year, I feel like that was the only time I knew that, wow, I'm supposed to be getting this in order to get to the next step that I might want to fulfill or something. So I also want to say is, if you want to do honors, please go for it. Just try and do it. If you feel that you are going to be overwhelmed, speak to the supervisor or lecturer in charge, and then decide if you're going to leave it or not. Don't just like preclude yourself if you don't feel like it's something that you want, but you don't feel you're going to achieve it. But if you feel like I really don't want to do honors, like I don't think you should go for the route if you know that it's not something that you really want. Just maybe looking at the reasons why I did Fin Acc Honours, or reasons that you might have. I think just go and try and pursue it if you want to do it. And if you don't want to do Fin Acc Honours, maybe you like tax more or Manford more, maybe do that. It depends on what you
where
like.
your passions lie, and
Yeah, because it doesn't help if you hate something or you don't really want to do it, and now you are here and
you
like
need
I'm
to
just
be
learning a
committed.
new skill. Yeah, it's like I'm
Yeah.
learning a new skill, but really I'm dying here.
Just for the
No.
sake of it.
Yeah, because it might benefit me later, but I'm not feeling it right now. So I'll just say
Just to
follow
add something to
what you
that.
like. Yes,
Sorry.
yes.
To say that, so I registered for honors in fourth year, and I didn't actually attend the first lecture immediately in the first week. I was like, oh, I'm overwhelmed with the CTA, I'm dropping. And I think students should rather, you have 2 weeks to deregister, go and, like you said, Amy, attend the lecture, try the first assignment, and actually see whether you like it or not. Don't just drop it because you feel overwhelmed, give it some time because you do have 2 weeks. And yeah, maybe I should have done that, but I didn't. So just a bit of advice. Yeah.
Yeah, so like as Dino said, try and see what it's about before you maybe quit. Because if you do qualify, maybe you might as well just try the first week, because the first week of lectures might not be as hectic. I'm sure it is definitely hectic, but it's not as hectic as if you're already in the game. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, when you get to the third, fourth week, you're already like, yeah, I'm getting used to it, because you remember you're still learning how to cope with fourth year, or when you are going to be doing honors. You're doing honors and CTA at the same time, so you are learning something. You're still adjusting. So don't like put yourself in a position where you might be losing out on something. But I'm sure Dino was fine with his decision. But if he maybe didn't get the same advice or had the same idea as I had at that point. So you see, Dino's he's doing his 18 adverts for his first year, and he's good. So it doesn't matter whichever choice you make, but try. I'll just say try. Give it a try if you are willing to give it a try.
Yeah. So I think the starting point there for students, just to decide whether or not they should pursue honors, is maybe to identify if they are interested in delving deeper into the subject. Is that where your passion lies? And if not, then it's probably not where you want to be. And if it is, then consider it, give it a go. If you are feeling overwhelmed, and that you can always decide, let's say 2 weeks on, after you've already had a bit of a taste for it. Okay.
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Well, I think that's all of it, right?
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks so much for your time, Amy. Really appreciate it. And yeah, all the best.
Yes, thank you, and the same to you guys. And
thanks,
I hope the students found this valuable.
I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they will.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording now. Thanks, guys.